Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, two avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Twins. Men for the Win is sponsored by the Grand Group with Edina Realty. Are you looking to purchase a new home in the Twin Cities area? Or perhaps you're trying to sell your current home? Whether you're upsizing or downsizing, the Grand Group with Edina Realty will meet all of your housing needs. Contact the Grand Group by emailing thegran, that's G-R-A-N, group, at edinarealty.com, or call them by phone at 612-817-8751. The Grand Group with Edina Realty, 7-time Minneapolis-St. Paul Magazine Super Agent Award winners.
Men for the Win is part of the Pulltab Sports Network, covering sports, culture, and entertainment across the Midwest. Check them out at pulltabsports.com and give them a follow on all your social media platforms at Pulltab Sports. On this episode, David, Dan, and Hoges recap their season predictions for the 2025 Minnesota Twins season. Thanks for listening. Enjoy. Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win. My name is David Kufis. With me, as always, is Dan Thompson, special third chair in studio, Andrew Hoges Hoganson. Boys, it's been a long time coming. We're finally all here. Hoges is now officially an Ironman. He's back in Minnesota. Dan's in Spokane. I'm in Minneapolis. But here we are, boys, to finally talk, have the debrief, have the dissection, have the post-mortem on this Minnesota Twins season.
I think I was days away from getting kicked off the podcast. I mean, there were some threatening text messages flying around if we weren't getting this scheduled. So I'm happy I'm here, mostly for my own safety, but I'm glad we're doing this, boys. It's good to be on the mic again.
No, we can't lose you, Hoges, because I got a lot of needs next summer when I'm going to Europe. So I hope you're available most of the summer because I don't think we want to have David do a solo show. I don't know.
I would sign up for that in a heartbeat.
Those would be, I don't know, what? 1 to 3 hours long. Go on tangents like I texted you all about today, which am I not accurate? With out of all the manly duties we do as fathers, if we could choose one to axe, I never want to move a car seat in or out of a car ever again.
No, and you always scratch your fingers somehow. Even though even the clip ones are so much easier, you still rip them up no matter what. And then you get sweaty and you get angry. It only takes 3 minutes. Yeah, David is showing the cuts on his hand right now. It is the worst. I hate it. Joe getting into a booster seat is the greatest thing ever.
Who designed these? Every time I'm I literally almost texted and I scratched my fingers every single time. It's like, they're like, you know what? Let's make this impossible, pokey, and then also have this nagging fear that you're going to install it incorrectly and cause the death of your child.
Yeah, right? I didn't want to change them out before my race because I was worried I was going to pull something before going down there. And I'm like, I cannot have a car seat injury be the reason I don't finish this.
Where did all these unsupervised children come from?
Well, for us, so there came a point with children 3 and 4 that we just had extra car seats by that point. So there's perma seats, so we didn't have to move them. But there comes a point where, they don't even want to sit in them anymore. And they're like, you know what? That's probably okay. We survived, right? I was barely buckled as a child, right? So I think we'll be okay.
They just threw me on a roof when I was a kid.
Yeah. I'm not joking. My fondest memory of toddler travel was me and my sister arguing who would get to sit on I can't even say it. Who would get to sit on the honker? The honker, hello 80s parents, was the armrest next to the
Why is it the honker?
Because if you sat there, you could honk the horn.
Oh,
you could reach to honk the horn. So it was the honker.
Attempt to be a gentleman.
My goodness.
Okay. My goodness. What a tangent to begin, boys. But thank you, folks. If you're a returning listener, thanks so much for waiting patiently for this much anticipated season recap. If you're new to the show, thanks so much for tuning in. Our normal format, we have an episode after every Twins series. We do little segments and we run through all of the things that happened in the games. This will be a little bit more free-flowing. We're going to talk about all the moves since our last episode that the Twins have made. Brilliant moves that scream competition for 2026 out of this Minnesota Twins roster. But first, boys, some league news here. The MLB has reached a new TV deal with NBC, Netflix, and ESPN. So just the quick highlights here. For Twins fans, this isn't going to matter so much because you basically still have to get Twins TV if you want to watch it locally, or there might still be a package with DirecTV. There's still some things that are being worked out. But the big highlights here, NBC is taking over Sunday Night Baseball. which is pretty cool. And then Netflix is going to have the Home Run Derby, which, sure, whatever. I'm sure it'll like break streaming wise like they did with all the fights that everybody wanted to watch. And then ESPN is getting the first and second round of the postseason, I think. So they have all of these different rules and regulations here, but there's a lot changing here in the MLB TV landscape.
I think my biggest complaint is just my complaint about all streaming is that it's now everything costs $20 a month and you need like 7 different services to get everything that you want, right? Because if you're a fan of more than one sport, it feels like you need everything. Now ESPN I think has hockey, so I can watch all the Wild games that way. Can you guys watch hockey on ESPN Plus, or do you have to have
FanDuel?
See, and that's the thing. In of market, inside market, out of market. This is really silly. I guess it's fine. I just want to know how I can watch the Twins, and I think that's not going to change for me.
I'll still have Twins TV, but then I also have DirecTV, which I have to decide whether I want to keep or not. That's what sort of was frustrating last time is I signed up for Twins TV, and then they're like, oh, but actually this will be available on DirecTV.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just frustrating that it's like the season will begin, and then they'll tell you what you need. It's not like they can't tell you ahead of time so you can kind of make your plans for the summer of how you're going to watch these games, because nothing says Twins management like timely decision making.
I'm curious, though, if this does give more money to the clubs a little bit with having this deal with ESPN and NBC and Netflix, if maybe that's a little bit more of an influx of cash. It won't matter what the pull ads are going to spend at all, but I just wonder if the clubs are seeing more of this money, too.
Well, that's what I want, right? I want it to be a more equitable distribution of the funds, right? And I think that's what Manfred is trying to work for, the MLB commissioner. I think he wants to get everybody sharing revenue like the NFL. And this is another episode, obviously, but when we get towards that potential labor stoppage after the 26th season, that's going to be the big sticking point. And I think this is part of that to kind of, get ready and steel yourself, because it's going to be an ugly battle. I think this is just part of that.
I get that the NFL is different just on the the quantity of games that you have, but like being able to watch every single local game for free. Right now we have to pay for one streaming service with Prime if you want to watch the Thursday night games. They've got it made, and they're by far the most profitable out of all of these leagues. You got to hope that somewhere down the line there's going to be an exclusive deal with one of these streaming services where, I want a monopoly. It's weird that I'm saying that, but like even with the NFL, you can pay for Sunday ticket and you get everything. There's one price that you can pay to get absolutely everything.
Well,
no
actually,
local
you
blackouts.
don't, though, because you don't get the Thursday night games and you don't get the Sunday night games and the Monday night games. As I'm finding out this year, and I still have to have YouTube TV along with
and then you can't
NFL
watch
Sunday
you
ticket.
couldn't watch ESPN when that.
I know it's
okay.
right, exactly.
All right,
It's all a mess.
It's a mess. But first of all, who doesn't have Amazon Prime? Like
Yeah,
when I
well,
meet someone who's like doesn't have Prime, it's like, how do you get things like that you
do you
need for
buy
life?
things?
Like, you go to a store.
Do you run out of toilet paper?
Unsupervised children can help.
I feel like I need it for my kids. Like, can we get that? We have so many boxes at our house. And then they get turned into
crazy.
things. The kids cut them up, and then there's suddenly airplanes, right? Everywhere. It's pretty cool.
It's great.
Reduce,
Okay,
reuse, recycle.
boys,
Exactly.
only a couple of moves thus far around the league as far as free agents or trades are concerned. So the Mariners and Josh Naylor agreed to a 5-year, $92.5 million deal. I don't know exactly what's going through ownership's mind for your Mariners there, Dan Thompson. That feels some sort of abuse. Somebody got taken here. I'm not exactly sure how he ended up with that much money.
You just spend a lot of money. That's what the Mariners are doing right now. They really think that Josh Naylor being around will put him over the edge next time around. The Mariners fans are finally excited about baseball in an optimistic way. And so I think they're just trying to keep all the pieces, all the memories of the home runs and things like that. They want them all back together.
What a funny deal for ownership to see that your fan base is excited after you have a great year and then invest more money into it. It just seems like a crazy concept, but...
If I understand, this would have been the right time to right-size the business for the Mariners
that's
and
what
really
I've been
figure
told.
out what's
I'm not
most profitable.
superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
All right, boys.
Yes. Next move here. This one was actually a bit surprising. So you have the Mets trading Brandon Nimmo for Marcus Semien from the Rangers, which is sort of crazy. This is not a trade that I would have seen coming heading into the offseason.
No, I haven't. I don't really get it. I don't know what either team gained. They seem like fairly comparable players. I don't know. It just seems like a goofy move that maybe the Mets are just trying to shake things up. But I don't know. There's got to be more coming, I would think, with this. But too much of a like-for-like trade for me.
Well, then the other one is the Red Sox trading for Sonny Gray. The Twins wanted to... Well, he was 10 years with the Twins, right? And he's just kind of having an extended career. He's bounced around a couple times. But good for him to land on what should be a winning team, you would think.
Yeah, I think that made the Red Sox a lot better with adding him to their rotation because he probably slots in as maybe the third starter even, so that's a good rotation.
So next news here, big news for Andrew Hogenson here. Ohtani wins the National League MVP, tying Barry Bonds with 4. That one wasn't as surprising, obviously.
Did they even need to announce that one? They should have just duh, Ohtani won, move on.
Yeah. And then they should have played his theme song, Money, do, 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 do. So, and then on the AL side, though, Aaron Judge does beat out Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, by 20 votes. That, it makes sense. I understand why people would vote for Aaron Judge. But isn't it, it's sort of like the underdog, right? You had to think more guys were brought into the story of, well, you got to vote for the big dumper.
But you can't do that though. Like I wanted Raleigh to win it too, but like you can't have like the voter fatigue thing. I hate that when guys are like, well, we can't just give it to Judge every year. Yeah, you can. I mean, he deserved it. Like I think the only argument that Raleigh had was that he plays at the catcher's position, which I mean, don't get me wrong, that is a massive argument because he's producing offensively at a truly historic level at a position that you don't. So I think you could have justified giving it to Raleigh, but I mean, let's be honest, neither of us with a straight face can say that Judge didn't deserve this MVP with those numbers.
All rise for Dan's Judge love.
I'm going to go back to the statistics here. So in this 2025 season, Judge, his batting average was .331. His on-base percentage was .457. He got on base almost half of the times that he stood up there by the plate. A slugging of .688, an OPS of 1.144. Like, an incredible season. And if you look at what he's done here, five All-Star games in a row, 3 of the last 4 MVPs. I think he's a Hall of Famer now, even if maybe he already would have been if he'd, pulled a Terrell Davis and retired or something like that. But like, I think he's got to be a Hall of Famer now, right? And is he first ballot? That's maybe my bigger question.
Are like onions.
He's a Hall of Famer now, but he's not a Yankee retired number because he hasn't won a championship. That's kind of how I differentiate it. His career is good enough to get in the Hall, but he's not a Yankee great unless he wins one because that's what their standard is.
Do you think he will?
I guess.
Do you think that, because it doesn't seem like Yankees fans seem to think that they're not going to with the current.
I hope not. And Cashman says that the Yankees are just hemorrhaging money right now. So, or Steinbrenner did, which is just hilarious.
He would relate to the Pohlads, obviously.
Yes.
Right? Well, all that debt that they've got. Poor
if the Yankees right-size their business, I'd be all for that.
So moving a little bit more Twins specific here regarding the MVP voting. Byron Buxton, our guy Buck, he places 11th in MVP voting, which makes him one place shy of a $3 million incentive bonus in his contract. I saw somebody tweet, wouldn't it be a gesture of good faith if the Pohlads gave him that incentive anyway?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure. The list of things that I could list that would happen prior to the Pohlads giving money to somebody who didn't take them to court to get it, I can't even begin to fathom how long that list would be.
I don't think they should have to. Like, the contract is a contract, right? With my students, like, there are rubrics, right? And if you don't hit the certain metrics on the rubric, there's no room for
because we
wiggling.
all know that those rubrics are set in stone over the course of the season, and no editing happens whatsoever.
Never changed. Stone tablets. They have never changed.
Let it be written. Let it be done.
Anyway, I don't think it's fine. No. Whatever, right? If he didn't earn it, he didn't earn it. I would wonder if he was maybe the Pohlads were paying other people on the side, because gambling's everywhere in baseball now, right? To not vote for Byron Buxton, right? Yeah. That would happen.
I'm surprised Gleeman didn't just put him first just to screw with them on his ballot.
Yes. Well, okay, but here's the thing. As far as Buxton is concerned, the reason why that whole giving him $3 million extra might not be a terrible idea is because with the way that the front office has made these moves, Buxton has floated through his people that he might be okay to waive his no trade clause if the Twins keep selling off pieces. Now, again, the only pieces that the Twins even have to sell are Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez. So it's not like he's like, if they keep selling off pieces, like nobody's going to be crying if James Outman gets traded this offseason, right?
Right.
He's talking about Joe Ryan. He's talking about the starting rotation. If you don't keep the starting rotation intact, that's the only thing that's keeping this team even potentially relevant for 2026. I would like to move somewhere where they're trying to win.
Right. I agree with you, David. Did any of us get upset when we read that? It was, when I read it, it was like, well, duh. Like, I
Yeah.
can't blame him for that one bit.
No, and he just doesn't seem like a guy who, you know, when you get in the NFL offseason, you got these guys who like hold out for better contracts. Like, I know they don't really do that in the MLB, but you know what I mean? Like, he seems so earnest to play baseball and to play hard and to try and win, and how frustrating it must be to just watch this organization fail to use you as the leader in the role that you are sort of built for, to build pieces around you to make this a championship winning team. And right now we're so far from that even he's asking for the bare minimum. Hey guys, don't sell off any more pieces. Like, at this point, the Pulleds have gotten rid of the doors and the windows, and he's like, can we just keep the walls at this point? Just let the walls stay here.
And like, I don't think any of us are questioning his character at all. He's not in there demanding a trade. He is saying he would waive it if they don't want to get any better and they trade those guys away. So, I mean, to me, that's still a massive difference too. Because frankly, if he would have waived it at the trade deadline this year, I think they would have traded him. It's more him saying no previously to now saying, okay, maybe if you find the right spot. It's not coming in there and being like, trade me or else. I think he's just being like, I'd be open to waiving it, which is totally different in my mind.
Well, another thing that I wonder if Byron Buxton is willing to waive is his willingness to trade out his men's products here, because I think he maybe should consider Duke Cannon, which makes high quality grooming products for hardworking men. Minnesota based with an all new look. Their clean new packaging features the Big D. It's unmistakable on the shelves. Whether you or Byron Buxton goes for a brick of soap, thick body wash, deodorant, hair care, beard care, cologne, you name it, Duke Cannon will have you smelling your best. So look for the Big D at Target, Walmart, Amazon, or DukeCannon.com, because once you try it, you'll be hooked. Work harder, smell better. Duke Cannon.
Well, in other Twins news here, Derek Shelton, the new manager, in case you forgot, it's a pretty forgettable name, actually, when you get down to it. He has finished his coaching staff. So now I'm going to give you the whole slate. We'll talk about the ones that are probably a little bit more impactful. So Mark Hallberg is going to be the bench coach. Mike Rebello, the assistant bench coach. Grady Sizemore, the first base coach. Hank Conger, the former first base coach for the Twins, is now the bullpen coach for the Orioles. Ramon Borrego replaced our guy Tommy Watkins at third base. And then, familiar face here, boys, Toby Gardenhire will be the field coordinator for your Minnesota Twins. And then the hitting coach is a guy, Keith Beauregard. I listened to like 2 videos and nobody ever said his last name. They all said his
They're all
first
afraid
name.
of it. Nobody wants
Yeah, they're all like, oh. Even Shelton's like, well, I'm really excited for Keith. What's his name? Even give me the shortened, I'm sure, like what do they say? The Bowie, whatever they'll say to shorten it and put a Y
He
on
doesn't know it.
No, but he's the hitting coach. Trevor Amicone is the assistant hitting coach. Raiden Sierra is the assistant hitting coach as well. And then Pete Mackey again returns as pitching coach. LaTroy Hawkins, that's from one that we're all excited about. He'll be the bullpen coach. And then Luis Ramirez will be the assistant pitching coach. I mean, the big ones here are obviously Keith, the new hitting coach, to see sort of what direction he takes this young athletic club. And then LaTroy Hawkins being the bullpen coach. What are we thinking about this manager and coaching staff for 2026?
I one thought about LaTroy Hawkins. I just realized right now it's actually going to impact my life more negatively than positively, even though I like the hire, because I love him as an announcer. And so not getting him to do that will actually negatively impact me. I'm sad now. I didn't really think about that, but I think he's a great hire. I think he's fiery. It sounds like he's got a real knowledge of like advanced stats in baseball, where he's always willing to learn more, and hopefully he'll bring that to the bullpen. The rest of it, I like Grady Sizemore. I'll let Dan talk more about that because that's kind of his guy. But the rest of it, other than those 2 guys, to me is pretty more of the same. I don't know. But
yeah, Sizemore to me is like what Byron Buxton was, to us. I feel like he was to the Guardians or Indians organization, right? Like he was the one, right? He was we got to play it.
You were the chosen one.
Right, who never worked out. Like, I feel like he was the guy who didn't quite put it together. I still remember him being on Sports Illustrated, the cover of being like the 5-tool guy, right? And he just never quite came about. And what's so interesting is that he's a guy with managerial experience too, right? He managed the White Sox there for a little bit.
I don't know. That's like AAA experience.
He was interim for the club.
That counts, right?
This is not. I don't know how to explain this to you, but that's like saying you walk into a Michelin star restaurant and be like, "Well, I have experience because I managed a Subway for 6
trash
months." That's not the same.
He was there. He was the next guy that they picked, right? They got rid of the other guy and they said, "Look, you are the one."
Eat fresh. We're actually
I'm
sponsored by
GM
Subway.
of a Subway. I can own this place.
Is anyone here a manager of a restaurant? It's like the marine biologist bit, right?
Yes.
Anyway,
Oh, who doesn't love science?
I like that Toby Gardenhire is closer because we're almost old enough now where a Twins manager's son is going to manage the team, because I'm pretty sure he's going to be the next one.
Probably.
He'd be an internal hire. It would make a lot of sense. But more seriously, I do like that because I do think that it's good. It's good for an organization to promote from within because it shows that it can be done. And I think that's a good way to retain managers or just other coaches, is to say like, hey, you're not just a AAA manager forever. Like, we don't see you as that guy, but we see you as potentially a guy in the major league staff. So I think that's pretty cool.
Moving forward to the actual player positions here, Twins have made some roster moves. So the biggest one probably is the Twins traded... Thank you, Hoges. The Twins traded for relief pitcher Eric Orzi from the Rays for minor league right-handed pitcher Jacob Kisting. I don't think this is a huge deal. And you added a guy he's 28. He's got a good changeup and had a 3.02 ERA while striking out 40 and 41 and 2/3 innings for Tampa Bay last season. So I do think that adds at least one piece to the bullpen that we can say, okay, he's definitely going to be in the bullpen.
It's a high bar.
Oh yeah, how encouraging.
We know where that guy's going to be
I
sitting.
think I could be in the bullpen right now.
Hoges, you had your chance at target field. It's not our fault you couldn't hit a home run. And then the Twins also traded infielder Peyton Eels, who knows? But for the Orioles catcher Alex Jackson, who's scheduled to make probably $1.8 million. And Derek Falvey said Jeffers is expected to get up to 100 games starting behind the plate for 2026. So Alex Jackson is your backup catcher for the Twins. So if that doesn't scream, we're looking to be competitive in 2026, guys, I don't know what does.
It just means they're trying to save money. They can spend it elsewhere.
Yeah.
David, obviously, right?
Yes.
Like, you have a smaller bedroom, so you can have a bigger living room. I mean, that's really what they're doing here.
I think his
I don't know
batting
that the
average
housing
is like
market is a great comparison
It is.
At this moment, Dan.
it's like 120 batting average with his OPS. OPS plus is like 81 or something like that. Like, I get that a backup catcher doesn't have a high bar, but woof. Like, Christian Vasquez looks like a Triple Crown winner compared to those numbers.
Guys, I'm just saying the roster is coming together. I don't know how you can't see this.
It's coming together. It is coming together.
Yeah, there are warm bodies, which we were lacking those previously.
So then other news here on the roster, the Twins have offered contracts to all of their arbitration-eligible players besides Deshaun Kersey. Sorry, Deshaun. But they did offer contracts to, surprisingly, Trevor Larnach. But then, of course, Ober, Ryan, Sands, Jackson, Jeffers, Lewis. We're still waiting on the arbitration numbers. None of those have come out. We don't know if they'll avoid arbitration or if they'll have to go to arbitration. Knowing the history of this club, they actually do a pretty good job of not having to go to the arbiters for these contracts. But it wouldn't shock me if a couple of these guys want to test their luck with the
I
arbiters.
could see Mr. Joe Ryan being there.
That's what I'm saying. I think that man is scheduled to make a good chunk of money in 2026.
I would think Royce Lewis a little bit too, given how Royce Lewis thinks about Royce Lewis, right? I mean, like
You were the chosen
yeah, exactly. No, he thinks that's the
I
other
think,
one there.
I think the two of those will go very differently, though, if I had to guess.
Royce, have you looked at your numbers?
Oh, he has. No, he's got an explanation for that. They're bad.
I got
because-
no help.
Yeah,
There were no
exactly.
coaches. I was by myself. They want me to change my swing to try and make me better. But, dude, I don't want to hurt my stats for this hearing, guys. Look at what I've done.
Well,
Look at what I put on paper for you people to see how much I'm worth. And I'm worth at least a AA prospect at this point. Like, how much do AA prospects make? Oh, never mind. Never mind.
I'll take it. Well, Coach Keith B, the hitting coach, looks a lot like Royce, as Hoges was pointing out before the show, which makes me think that maybe they think that if the hitting coach looks like Royce, then he'll listen to the hitting coach just a little bit more. Like, am I looking in the mirror or am I looking at my coach?
If I can take Dan's illustration, how we used Jim Thome and Harrison Bader, and how if you take the little corner of the picture in Word and you shrink it, that's what it looks like here between Keith and Royce. Is if you had a picture of Royce and you grabbed it from the side and just smooshed it in a little bit. That's what Keith looks like.
Well, and then there's the Rule 5 protections of the Twins. So these are guys that if you don't add them to your 40-man, you lose them, right? Anybody else can pick them up. So they added Prelip, the relief pitcher, who I think they're pretty high on. Kendry Rojas, who they got in, I think he was the Blue Jays trade. So he better be good for giving up Louis Varland. Andrew Morris, who is another pitcher that we've heard some things about. John Klein, another right-handed pitcher. And then Hendry Mendez, an outfielder. And then Gabriel Gonzalez, an outfielder. I think that there are more guys who are going to be cut off of the main roster before, so I do think there might be some other signings here, but I think this makes a lot of sense. You got to keep these guys. You don't want to lose guys and then have them go and succeed elsewhere when you're in the Twin situation where you're trying to build from within with young players.
Well, and not to mention, though, the problem right now is on the 40-man. Like half of the 40-man is comprised of corner outfielders who bat left-handed. Yeah. It's like, guys, what should we do? It's like, it's like the Pulltabs are playing Risk, and they've gone all in on Australia. And Australia in this illustration here is left-handed hitting outfielders.
It's like Rocco and all of his like platooning. They're like, Shelton doesn't get to platoon. You get only lefties out there.
Yeah, we're gonna platoon left and right field with left-handed bats. Rocco, you actually normally have a right hand. No. We got two lefties for each side. It's gonna be they're gonna platoon. It'll be great.
Speaking of platooning or pontooning, if you haven't been launched off an inner tube at high speeds behind a boat, you probably didn't grow up in the land of 10,000 lakes. Good news, our sponsor, Rave Sports, has all the water toys to upgrade your lake lifestyle. Whether you're looking to give the kids the ride of their lives on one of Rave's state-of-the-art hyper tubes, chill out on the 4-person Big Easy, or get a workout in on an inflatable Coda paddleboard, Rave Sports has your lake life covered. Make memories and make it the best summer ever next year at ravesports.com. And don't forget to use promo code PULLTAB for 20% off your order. Rave Sports, make waves.
Well, boys, it's that time. It's time for the recap. It's time, again, I think postmortem is the best word choice here of the 2025 Minnesota Twins. And we're going to start where we always do. Puckett's Picks winner.
I'm just going to take my headphones off.
I won't dwell. I won't gloat. I just want to point out that I was down and out. I was not supposed to win Puckett's Picks. And then I went on a monumental tear at the end of the season, winning 8 of 12. To snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. I finished the season with 17.5 points. You both tie at 16.5, and the listeners finish in the rear at 13. Technically, Hoges finished in second because he had 228 points scored to Dan's 150. We should also note, I only scored 184 points. But boys, the points don't matter if you get the victories on the weeks that matter. That's all I'm saying.
I'm looking at all this information here that you've compiled. And there are some surprising elements, but there's lots of percentages and things like this. You spent a lot of time, David, working through this here.
I want to admit something, boys. I have been playing a little bit with AI and Excel function, and it has been fascinating. A few notes here. The most picked player by each participant. Dan took Lewis 13 times, who won 4 times for Dan. I took Correa and Lee each 11 times. Correa won once for me. Lee won 3 times. Hoges took Correa 10 times, and he only won 1 time for Hoges. The listeners,
I want to build championship culture.
That's for both of you there, I think.
The listeners took Buxton 21 times, and he secured them 7 victories. But so I'm going to go here just through a few of the stats that I compiled that are sort of interesting to look at. So first of all, most picked players. Buxton far and away the most picked. Every time he was healthy, he was picked. He was picked 42 times. Correa and Lewis each 27 times. Lee actually coming in 4th at 20 times. Wallner at 18, Keishel at 16, Larnach at 11, France at 10, and then sort of a mixed bag of everybody else. So I've tried to focus on those who were picked 10 times or more for these stats. Points scored per player. So this includes positive and negative every time they were picked throughout the season. Buxton more than doubled the next closest guy. So Buxton finished with 228 points scored to Lewis's 106. And then coming in third, I found this shocking. Luke Keishel with 83 points, boys, coming in third place there.
So I look at this and a couple things stand out to me. Correa was picked 27 times and only generated 65 points, which I feel like is how we have felt about Carlos Correa for his whole career, right? That we wish he was better than he actually was.
Yes.
Also, we only picked Cody Clemens 3 times all season for as good as he was for this team.
It's that will be interesting here in a moment here, Dan. It's good foreshadowing. Then I broke it down by best player performance when picked. So meaning that how often did a player win when they were picked? Buxton had the most at 17. Then Lewis and Wallner each had 7. Keishel had 5. Larnach had 4. Lee had 4. So, but then I went with this new category here, boomer bust. So this is basically the most top player wins. And what I found interesting about this here is Buxton, of course, had 12. Then Lee had 6. But this is the interesting name. Jeffers 5 times had the most points scored, which that is a statistical anomaly for where he is for all of the other stats. He's nowhere near the top. But he had the highest point total 5 different times throughout the season.
And he was only picked by us 4 times all season? So
Season,
basically
correct.
we were underrating how good Jeffers could be. I think it's because he's a catcher. We never want to pick a guy who's only going to start 2 of the games. But this year, maybe
Correct.
if he's going to play 100, maybe there'll be some in there where he plays every game.
We also were massively overrating the rest of the team too. So, I mean, when guys like Wallner and Lewis are the next best wins, I mean, and they had horrible years. I mean, it just goes to show you how bad this lineup was this year.
Yes. And so then this is the last category I have for us here, the best win ratio. So I made it so we're only really counting people who were picked 10 or more times, because Cody Clemens actually, to Dan's point, he won 66% of the time when he was picked, but he was only picked 4 times. So no, excuse me, 3 times on the season. So so figure that out. But then Buxton, if you pick Buxton, he won 40% of the time he was picked. Wallner won 38% of the time. Larnach 36%. Keishel 31%. France, another sort of outlier here comparative with the other stats, 30% of the time. Lewis was 25%, Lee 20%. But this is my favorite one, boys. Carlos Correa. So he got picked a ton, 27 times, the second most. He won 7.4% of the time that he was picked, which is below Willie Castro, below Austin Martin. Like it's ridiculous to me how highly we valued that man and how little he did for this franchise in the time he was here.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
And we keep talking about him, right? That's just what he wants. He wants us to keep talking about him, David. I'm sure we'll keep talking about him in the future segments here, but man alive, that guy.
It was rough. It was rough. But anyway, so that's kind of fun to look at those stats and see how it all breaks down. So now, boys, we're going to move into our predictions that we made preseason and the actual results, which I'm sure there'll be some gloating here. We're going to go through these. We'll kind of zip through them here. We're getting a little lengthy on the old episode, folks. But so starting off, we have most home runs. So Dan predicted Matt Wallner with 35 home runs. I predicted Matt Wallner with 38 home runs. But Hoges coming in real close here. Byron Buxton with 35 home runs. And Byron Buxton did lead the team with 35 home runs, Hoges.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We can stop talking about the rest of these right now. This is where I would like to end it. Everything looks good. 1 for 1. Adios, folks.
I will say Matt Wallner was second on the team with 22. So we weren't
almost
terribly
just
far off.
16 off.
But we did not have Byron Buxton. Batting average, this is where this gets interesting. So, I picked Jose Miranda to bat 298. David picked Carlos Correa to also hit 298. Brooks Lee, Hoges, you picked for 297. We were very close on that number. It ended up being Luke Keishel. It depends how you cut it here, because
that's the hard. Okay, so when I was putting these stats together, it's so hard because none of these guys played like the amount of time that I would consider to be reasonably considered for full stats. So Keishel bat 302. Martin bat 282, Correa bat 267, and Jeffers bat 266. So whoever you think is the most deserving of owning the best average,
I mean,
I guess
Keishel.
it's probably
Keishel.
Correa. Well, yeah, but Keishel had the highest, but he only played a quarter of the season.
But
so
that's ugly. That's not pretty.
Moving on to on-base percentage, I picked Carlos Correa with 378. David, you picked Carlos Correa with 348. Matt Wallner was Hoges' pick with 390. And again, you got to explain the slashes here, David.
Well, it's impossible. So Keishel had an OBP of 382, Martin a 374, Jeffers 356, and then Bader 339. So I think Jeffers is probably the rightful owner here with an on-base percentage of 356. I think he's probably the one who we should consider the winner of this category, which none of us picked.
I think we're learning that Jeffers had an okay year this year.
I'm not even joking. The more I was looking at the stats and the more I was like looking at Puckett's picks, and I was like, did he play that much better? Like, I felt like we so often talked about how he was struggling so mightily, but he had a couple of really good stretches throughout the season.
He did.
He played 119 games too, which actually,
that's pretty good too.
For the I know for the guys who stuck with it, the only guys who played more were Byron Buxton with 126, which we'll get to. Trevor Larnach played actually the most at 142. Brooks Lee at 139. Cody Clemens is at 112. So that makes him what, the third. I mean, the third most games was what Brian Jeffers.
What a team!
What a team indeed. So now we have OPS. Dan took Matt Wallner at .419. I took Matt Wallner at .856.
Hold on. .914. .914.
What'd I say? What'd I say? Sounds about right. That's closer to what he actually did, I think. So Dan took Matt Wallner at .4. Oh my goodness. Dan took Matt Wallner at .914. I took Matt Wallner at .856. Hoges took Carlos Correa at .950, which is very funny. But the actual leader was Byron Buxton at .878, which
honestly sounds low. Season. Doesn't it sound a little bit low with how good of a year he had? I would have expected that to be
a pretty high number there.
I get it, but like I would have thought like he was a little. I mean, we were just talking about Judge in 1100, but I'm surprised Buxton wasn't a titch higher.
Well, it is funny. Remember at the end of the season when he wanted to steal more bases to hit that 30 number, and he couldn't do it because he kept hitting doubles and triples.
That'll do it.
It's like, man, can a guy get a single for crying out loud? So, okay, there is some good for us waiting to record this that I don't think we're as bitter as we would have been a few weeks ago had we recorded
absolutely.
this. I'm like looking back like, man, what a season Jeffers had. Oh, man,
right? We already know the bad.
Oh, man, remember he almost had 30 bases? The only thing we cared about for the last 2 months of the season? What fun that was, guys. Go ahead, Dan.
So with this, now we're going to shift to the pitching staff here for a second. So the ERA for starters, we'd all picked we didn't all pick different guys. Actually, I picked Joe Ryan with 3.6 ERA. David, you had Ober at 3.12, and then Hoges, you had Bailey Ober at 3.21. But none of us, you guys weren't right. I was closer, David.
Yes. So Lopez technically had the best ERA, but obviously he spent a lot of the season on the IL. So he had a 2.74 ERA, but Joe Ryan, I think, has to be the winner here at 3.42.
And even that's a little ballooned because his last couple starts weren't that great. So that ERA was looking real good until September.
I mean, he was probably nursing a groin injury he just wouldn't tell anybody about. So what are you going to do?
All right, if we look to relievers, I am the clear winner here. I think we'll hear why in a minute. I got to get the sounder ready.
This is my favorite one.
I picked Louis Varland. Have an ERA of 2.30. You guys praised me for that pick at the time. I feel pretty good about that. You guys both picked Griffin Jacks with pretty similar ERAs. David 1.96, Hoges with 1.87. Now technically I didn't win, but I feel like I won, right?
I don't really know who won, but Danny Coulomb technically had the lowest ERA at 1.16. But then Duran had 2.01 and Varland had 2.02. Jax wasn't in the conversation. So I guess if we're going by closest, then certainly, Dan, you win. But I do wonder, Varland struggled with the Blue Jays during the regular season. He did pretty well in the postseason, but the regular season, he did not look good. So I didn't take into account his season numbers based on the Blue Jays. So if you incorporate those, you probably didn't win either, Dan. But I'll give it to you out of the goodness of my heart.
And in the least shocking news of this entire segment, none of the people we picked are still on the team after the trade deadline, and none of the lowest ERAs are on the team after the trade deadline.
Well, and here, so our season MVPs, so this speaks to the conversation we had earlier. We all picked Carlos Correa with various stat lines. But I think we can very clearly say, and David, you've put this in there, Byron Buxton was the MVP of this team. No doubt about it.
I don't know. We might need to give some consideration to Ryan Jeffers for this one. I'm not sure it's as runaway as you guys think.
No, but normally I do leave this blank or I put a few options. But I mean, far and away, it's Byron Buxton, and I don't think there's really a conversation that needs to be had here.
The only reason it's someone else is if Joe Ryan didn't slip a little bit in September and kept that ERA below 3, then I think you have a bit of an argument. But yes, I agree.
So then we have our season LVP, or our bench here, for those familiar with the monikers of the show. So Dan and I actually each took Chris Paddock, which is sort of hilarious. Dan had him with an ERA over 5 and 70-plus innings pitched. I said he was going to get injured. He's not going to get deep into games. And Zebby or Festo was going to replace him by May with a 6+ ERA. There's sort of I don't exactly know how to score Chris Paddock because Chris Paddock ended up pitching for the Tigers. He pitched well for the Twins for like 8 games. And then the rest of it was garbage. So it wasn't good, is the moral of that story. I don't know that he was the least valuable player on the team. I think there's an argument to be had
too much
here.
competition.
But exactly. But Hoges picks Pablo Lopez with a 4.35 ERA, which I remember at the time I mocked Hoges a little bit here because considering the state of the starting rotation the season prior, 4.35 ERA, I think we'd take all day out of anybody.
Oh,
really.
we would have. I thought he was going to be the biggest change because everyone was expecting him to be top 3 Cy Young, and I thought he was going to have a little bit of a down year. I was happy to be wrong, although he didn't contribute all that much because of the injuries, but some of that was the state of the team when he was trying to come back.
Yeah, he only gave him 75 and 2/3 innings in the end, which was less than Zebby Matthews, but he did have that best ERA of 2.74. You could look at some other guys here, but it would be hard to blame the starting rotation as the reason, aside maybe from Chris Paddock. I don't know. Paddock ended up with a 4.95 ERA in his time with the Twins. Ober actually had a worse ERA, 5.10, and yet he was such a workhorse to get through innings there that it felt like you can't blame Bailey Ober for that ERA over 146 innings.
For sure. When Rocco was just keeping him out there for 7 innings every single, he got the Joe Ryan treatment this year, where Rocco was like, you got to pitch 7. That's just the way the cookie crumbles this year.
So who do you even give LVP to? Because my argument would be it has to be Carlos Correa, because I think that he is a primary reason this team sold at the deadline. Obviously, we dumped his salary and we're still paying the guy $10 million over the next couple of seasons. Somebody explain to me who was a bigger detriment to this team not being successful than Carlos Correa?
Royce Lewis.
Yeah, he'd be the only other one, I would say, as far as the underachievement piece here.
And I think the attitude, too. I think the attitude with it, too. Like, I think Carlos Correa was still committed to this team. I get that he did accept to waive his no-trade clause, but Royce's attitude with that arbitration stuff was so frustrating to me. Like, you just can't have that on a team where he's saying he does not care about what anyone says. He's in an arbitration year, and you're still doing horrible. It was just tone deaf.
I would love to hear...
I just want to clip out Hoges saying that Carlos Correa is stuck with the team except for when he got traded.
I still stand by that. I don't think that's a crazy thing at all. Like, I don't blame him one bit when a team is trying to fire sale and you say, sure, you can trade me. To me, that's way different than demanding a trade.
It is. It's true. I got to play it again.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
Because we keep talking about him.
We can't stay away from it.
I don't blame him. I think he was probably playing a little bit hurt through most of his time there. I don't know. I mean, the birthday party thing with Alec Bregman's family. Yeah, it all felt too convenient for Carlos. He never delivered on what he thought that he was, and I think the culture piece is the part that bothers me. How does Royce Lewis say all those things if there's this culture of winning in this clubhouse? Is Royce Lewis just that influential, and is he even liked by his teammates when he says those sorts of things?
I wouldn't like
think
it.
He says, is it possible he's just not that bright? And he says things without a filter and just sort of speaks his mind, but from the cuff, and hasn't really thought through things, because there's no way that somebody says the things that he says unless they're either very calculating or they haven't calculated at all.
Yeah, right. We love it when guys don't have a filter on that, but you like to see passion behind that instead of selfishness. Yes. Like, it's just a big difference. Like, Micah Parsons doesn't have a filter at all, and I love it. Absolutely love it. But there's backing it up on the field. Thank you.
For you, Hoges.
Backing it up on the field, those 2 sacks of 9 were just phenomenal.
He's developing. Okay, Hoges, just lay off our guy, JJ. He's figuring it out.
He'll be okay, guys. He'll be okay. I didn't watch film like every other fan apparently in Vikingsdom has. So annoying.
I don't really know that you needed to watch that much film, though, to see that Packer game and see what JJ did to come away thinking
he wasn't
maybe
good.
He's not the guy.
What are we talking about here?
You were the chosen one.
Lay off. 9 starts, 5.
I'm just at this point. My dad said something on Sunday. They came over for dinner, and I thought this was interesting because he came over and he said, "So your team really showed up today, huh?" But the thing about my dad, he grew me right to be a Minnesota sports fan.
Yeah.
Never will he take ownership that he cheers for Minnesota teams. It's always your team. Whenever we're talking about the Twins. So did you see how your guys did today? It's never how did the Twins do. It's always like he puts the ownership. The way my dad phrases things
wise
is if
man.
Nobody in our family ever cheered for sports until I came along, and I chose
You have
Minnesota.
brought this pall on your family.
I am the pox upon our house Goofus that is Minnesota fandom. And so the way he talks about it is just so like, this is your fault. You're cheering for them.
My life would have been
But
so much better if you had never introduced these clubs.
Yes. But the way he said, I find myself as a Minnesota fan finding myself far more interested in the games cheering against teams I want to see lose than for the teams that I want to see win. And it's a sad state of Minnesota sports if that's the way we have to watch, is no longer hoping our team wins, but hope the team from Wisconsin loses.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the crazy predictions. I'm gonna claim some victory here once again here on my crazy predictions. Remember was it the Eddie Julian one I had a couple years ago? I've had some pretty good crazy
Chris
predictions.
Archer
here.
will start 5 starts or whatever that one was.
That one. Simeon Woods
Or his
Richardson, that's
crazy
what it was.
prediction that SWR will start 10
Yeah,
games.
that's the one
It's
that
like,
I was
how's that
thinking
crazy
of.
prediction? I'll have an
Anyway,
ERA
I'm sure he will.
sub-20.
Yeah, right. Byron Buxton will play center field at some point this year.
Okay, but I was good on this one. I said Correa and Buxton each play 120 plus games, and I was right. Buxton 126, Correa 144. Now,
How'd that turn out?
well, half of it was really good. Really good. David, yours was that the Twins starting rotation finishes in the top 3 in the MLB, and
Didn't happen.
that Ty France would return to form and sign a big contract for next season.
He did win a
You know,
gold glove. He did win a gold
He did win a
glove.
gold glove. There's something to be said there. And
He almost
big
won a
is
World
relative.
Series.
Big is a relative term. He could sign a very lucrative deal for 2026.
Yeah, when compared to our salaries.
Exactly.
And then
a
the
big
Hoges-
contract with the Twins is like veteran minimum.
That is true.
So, I
That is
think
true.
I'm
On the
okay
team,
that.
big contract. You're the 4th highest paid player.
And then the Hoges said that Pablo would have the 4th best starter ERA, which was wrong. But if he had pitched more, you would argue that that ERA was only going to go up. I would think the way that the Twins were doing. So
was happy to be wrong about that one.
there you go.
Well, and then our records, Dan, do you want to gloat now? I suppose I'll just you seem to be in a very gloating
No, I
place
just
right
I
now.
just
You might
want to
as well
say
Yeah,
that
that's
I
pretty
remember,
wrong on this one, though, still.
I remember having a bit of realism at the beginning of the season. I don't have the clip in my ear exactly, right? But it said something like, I just don't see it all coming together. I didn't see it falling apart quite in the way that it did, but it certainly didn't come together. I had the record of 80 and 82. I thought they would be 3rd in the AL Central. I think they finished 4th, right, in the AL Central, ahead of the White Sox, but behind everybody else. You guys, though, were on a different planet here, apparently. So David saw the Twins. This looks so funny in hindsight. 92 and 70. Hoges, you thought they'd be 90 and 72. Now, David did have the detail of losing in the World Series to the Dodgers, which was
I'm gonna take
technically
points.
right.
No, I don't.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
take
want a
points.
victory lap on that. That is not a difficult. If you would have asked all of us who's going to be in the NL in the World Series, we would have all picked the Dodgers.
Well, but hang on. If I can point to Exhibit A, Judge here, I would say look at our postseason prediction brackets, and none of you took the Dodgers to win the World Series.
I
Hosts.
Yeah, at
didn't want
that
it to
point, we
happen.
didn't, right? But earlier in the year, we're talking about April.
No, Dan's right. You can't. No snorting at that. The Dodgers were predicted to be a better team than they ended up being, and then they still won anyways. They're like the Blackhawks of the late 2000 or early 2000s, where they didn't care in the regular season, and then they get to the playoffs, and it's like, oh, should we bring back all of these guys that are on LTIR for the last 2 months, and now they're fresh?
That's such a stupid rule. The Lightning
Well, the
did
Dodgers
that
are
too.
doing it in baseball now too. They
They
did
are.
it with Blake Snell and what's his name, Tyler Glasnow. Like, it's so
true.
annoying. They can just afford to stash those guys.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and take a victory lap anyway. So good luck with you on that.
Hoges, you did predict that the Twins would lose in the World Series as well, but you didn't list a team.
Just a bit outside.
And then the Twins ended up being 70 and 92, so some form of reversal of David's and close to a reversal.
I just saw
of-
the terrible in the postseason finish. Terrible.
That's what I wrote. Terrible. Okay, boys. So we're going to go through sort of brief segments here of what we would normally do during the regular season. So first is Rocco's Season Rewind.
Rocco's Rewind.
Which is maybe the last time we're going to play that sounder for quite some time, boys. But so my question to Rocco here is, how does it feel to get replaced by someone just as boring? I mean, you got to feel a little bad about that, right? Like, it's any time in life where you get passed over for somebody and you think, what? I got passed over for him. Don't you think Rocco has to have a little bit of that in his mind?
Yeah, it's like if your girlfriend breaks up with you and starts dating your twin, where
gotta
you're
be
like,
the
what did
same
I do?
analogy, right?
He's got to be annoyed by that. And they're pretty good friends too. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. He's got to be annoyed by that. How can you not?
I suppose, well, and this goes into yours, Hoges. Like, do you think that he should have been let go?
I don't. If you're going to hire Shelton, just keep Rocco. Like, it's hiring the same guy. So, yeah, I wanted to steal David's because I liked that question. But, yeah, it does. I just keep him. Why not?
I don't mind the decision to move on from him, but it's all the same. But then why did you replace him with Shelton? Do you think, this is my question about him, do you think that he will manage a team again this year, beyond? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Because as far as we're recording now, he hasn't landed in any spot yet.
He said he got a lot of calls about jobs, and the Twins still have to pay him. So let's start there. So he doesn't have to work. He's still getting paid next season. If I were Rocco, I would take a job just to keep your name relevant. But then you can still sort of float on the salary that you're getting paid by the Twins, knowing that 27 is likely to be a lockout year anyway. Then come back in 28 as a manager of a team where, you know, the players can have robotic arms after the new contract negotiations are done.
Well, I feel like you're being a little sarcastic, but I feel like that's about what he does. Like he gets a bench coach job and then gets back to managing again down the line somewhere.
Yeah, I could even see, like a special advisor to, XYZ kind of role. Whatever the language takes for them to still let the Twins pay him instead of this new team. Because I would assume that there's some kind of clauses in there in some of those things. Like maybe there's not. I think it points to the biggest thing.
They pay the difference is what happens.
Is it? Okay. I think the biggest thing
At least that's what it's like in college football and stuff like that.
Well, why did the Twins give him that contract mid-season and then just
Makes no
fire him?
sense.
Like, that's the part that just doesn't...
But yeah, like they're penny pinchers, and yet they do that. That's
Weirdest
so weird to me. Like whatever.
Well, that's actually a really good segue here into our season Minnesota moments.
Minnesota moment.
So they gave him the contract extension supposedly in like late April, early May, when the team was terrible, which was shocking, right? Because when it came out that they had picked up his extension, I think we all assumed off the bat that meant it had to be happening at the end of the May winning streak, right? Where they win like 14 in a row, everybody's riding high, and we forgot about the way the season started. And then you find out, no, they were actually like 6 games below 500, and they're like, we want this guy for sure for next season. Let's lock that down.
Yeah, I got nothing on that one. I still don't understand that. Just baffling. But I went with the trade deadline. Like, it summed up the whole year. It was an epic fire sale. It made me so sad. I bet money on the Brewers that night because I felt like I needed to care about a different baseball team. I'm still sad about it. I canceled my season tickets. Ultimately, when I look back on 2025, I'm going to think about the trade deadline.
I still can't believe you actually quit the Twins in that regard.
I pulled the plug. It's official.
Because David, you didn't,
out.
Right? You still have your tickets.
Yeah,
right?
I still got mine. I got a very nice email offering 40% off Carlos Correa merchandise.
Oh, I still get all the emails. They still think I'm a season ticket holder, but no money's coming out of my account, so maybe this is the way to go.
Just hope that you keep getting. I just want the emails.
I'll just bring my phone to the game, and we'll see if they just let me in.
I'm a season ticket holder. Don't worry
I'm an
about
honorary season ticket holder. No one else is here.
Must be, yeah. What
do you got there, Dan?
I went with Byron Buxton playing like vintage Byron Buxton. And your point earlier about if we'd recorded this in early October, I don't know that I would have been able to think back this way. But I'm thinking back this way because, man, he was fun to watch. And if they had just anybody else on the team who played like that, and we've seen pockets of this from Royce, right, where he can be that guy. I don't remember seeing pockets of anybody else. Luke Keyshaw maybe is another guy like that. That time when Brooks Lee bunted, right, and scored that winning run against the Rays, like that was pretty cool. But otherwise, vintage moments here. It was just watching Buxton do that, steal bases again, hit that cycle that he hit in the game that I didn't go to but wanted to go to and then didn't go to. I will regret forever. That's Buxton for me. I think I'm going to think back on this year, hopefully, and think of him.
You picking a positive moment makes me irrationally angry. I don't like it.
Well, because you guys had
Dan,
picked the negative ones, and so I thought, let's go ahead. Let's remember one.
plenty more to
positive
go
thing. I'm
around,
going to change
Dan.
my grade here, actually, a little bit later here.
I
There we
picked the May winning streak. That's positive, right?
That's
But
what
I
I'm saying.
suppose I kinda
Both of
made it
you makes me
negative.
irrational. You
Oh, that's
did. You
true.
you put a good spin on it.
Remember that really fun part of the season? Remember how terrible it was in hindsight? Like,
Before and after.
All right, well, let's push forward here. Maurer's musings for 2026.
I just don't know how it can get any better.
Maurer's musings.
I feel like you guys, I filled this in last, and I feel like you guys left me the by far most obvious question going into this postseason. Are the Twins going to trade Lopez and Ryan?
We try and be helpful to you in that way, Hoge. We know we don't want you to burn too much, brain power trying to come up with these things.
I think that they do not. I think they are going to keep them. Whether we're having the same conversation at the trade deadline is another matter. But I think they're going to keep them only because I think they're going to get more for them at the trade deadline after they've pitched a pretty good first half than they will now. That's the rationale I think the Pullads are having.
I think that if they trade one, they both go. And if they both go, Buxton goes. And then this is just a very sad franchise. And your fan base will never forgive you. Like, the fan base hates you already. I don't even know how to explain it. You know that Somebody I Used to Know song? Where it's like, you didn't have to cut me off. You like drop off all your stuff. What the Pullads did in the trade deadline and not spending any money, and after the 23 postseason run, and they cut payroll and stuff, like that's the breakup, and they didn't even want to see you, right? If they get rid of Ryan and Lopez and then Buxton goes, that's like going to your ex's house and setting it on fire. Like they don't even, this is no longer a breakup anymore. This is arson. Like the police need to get involved at this point.
I think what they're probably going to do is find a way to trade one, but not the other. I think they'll screw it up,
David.
right?
Oh my God. Yeah, I suppose they could do that.
Speaking
But
of
my
making
goodness.
me irrationally angry, David has officially convinced me, and I don't even know how, because I hate that I'm saying this, that if they don't trade them, nothing makes any sense from the last year. So part of
No
me
question.
wants me to trade them, or wants them to trade them, which, like, I don't want them to get traded, but David has now convinced me that this is the only way. Even though I know you don't want that either.
Can you explain that again, David? Why do you think that?
Well, why on earth would you move relievers with years of team control remaining if
For
you're
the
not
minimum.
planning to not be competitive for the near future? There's no reason to hang on to pieces to make you competitive that are worth more on the trade block if you're going to trade guys who you're desperately going to need next season. They're building the bullpen from scratch now, and you've traded proven relievers away. So there's
But
no
what
real
if
reason-
Kendry
why are you
Rojas is
trading
really
those-
good? What if Mr. Abel is really good?
No, okay.
What
well,
if
just take all these
the other
ifs,
guys,
though, Dan.
Taj?
You're missing the point here, Dan. There's no reason. Yeah, so I guess you can hope that you can rebuild the bullpen.
Well, yeah.
But that doesn't make sense. What makes sense if you're trying to be competitive is to keep the guys who you still have team control over, so you don't have to spend money in free agency or hope that guys from AAA are going to work out as relievers here. That's why it doesn't make any sense. If you're hanging on to these guys, why did you trade away the players you did at the deadline?
But like, if you know that you can get mediocre tires for your car, but you could trade your tires for like a really nice engine, then wouldn't you trade it for the
you just
nicer
called
engine?
the,
and then
one
just
of the
get
best bullpens in baseball mediocre tires.
That's not really nice
Like a
tires.
top 6
really high
rotation in
performance
Taj
tires.
Bradley is a super awesome engine.
This is not. My students would be like,
But
Mr.
Joe
Thompson, why are
Duran's
you making
just
a car metaphor?
holy
Like,
tires.
this is not. Anyway, I don't know. I'm going to wait and see. I guess I'm not totally ready on that because I can see the logic in that you can get a bullpen arm as a penny for your thoughts, a nickel, whatever
But
the idiom
we
is.
had that for a penny. That's the point.
That is the problem, Dan Thompson.
All right.
So my question is focused on the position player side because we focus so much on the pitching because we're worried about what they're going to do in the offseason. But let's say they do hang on to Lopez and they do hang on to Ryan and they hang on to the rest of the guys also. And let's say they manage to get enough bodies in the bullpen to at least not lose games guaranteed in the last 3 innings of the game. Okay? A big if, a big hypothetical
Lots
here.
of ifs.
Even if they do that, do you think this team has enough position players who are ready to win now on it? Because I don't know
Goodness,
that
no.
I do.
Goodness, no. Although, I'm going to just answer Dan for him. When you start looking at that lineup, that was a lot of runs right there.
All right, where's the roster tab here? You got like the next 5. Oh,
It's
you haven't pulled out
blank
the
because there's
2026
no
yet.
one there.
I think the lineup will be fine. You give them a new
Oh my
coaching
goodness.
staff. You get Royce back up to Royce speed. They're going to play Jeffers 100 games, which is only going to improve the team, obviously. Luke
less than he
Keyshaw,
played
a
this
full
year.
year of Luke Keyshaw. You got like 4 MVP candidates on that team with that one, right? I mean, like, I think they're going to be okay lineup-wise.
If by MVP you mean Willie Castro being...
Fool me once, strike one. But fool me twice, strike three.
I know.
think they're going to be okay on the lineup side.
Okay,
Are you just really enjoying your week off this week? This is too much.
just so people understand who Dan's talking about, I'm just going to give you guys this is what I have for locks right now. And again, I think 4 of these names are probably not locks, but I have them as locks
quotes.
got to do something here. Buxton, Wallner, Jeffers, Lewis, Larnick, Lee, Roden, Keishel, Clemens, Martin, Julian, and Jackson.
And Clemens
Dan,
is the
that
first
lineup,
base.
that's
Some runs right there.
They could score. I mean, I'm talking dozens of runs on the season. Like,
No. You haven't included Wally Jenkins, who will be up with this team by like June, right?
Dan, do you study questions when you're teaching your students? Like, you understand what if means, right? Like,
I do.
You're making it seem like your ifs are somehow sounding certain. Like, of course,
My ifs
that'll
are
be good.
thens, David. Like, it's going to be fine.
That's such a great... Oh, I want to use that. My ifs are thens.
It's going to work. It's going to work. They're going to be okay. I mean, they have the prospects who are coming up here. This is the cheap plan that the Pulleds have, is that you play the young guys and you let them be really good because they're going to have the opportunity. That's the way that they think this is going to happen. I'm trying to have a little optimism here because I do think that the lineup could be a strength of this team.
Okay. That segues well, I think, Dan, into your musing for 2026.
Well, we know what his answer is.
Well, so my question for you guys is Royce going to be, and I say Royce again, but I need to is he going to be 2023? Let me add that. 2023 Royce again, or is he 2024,
2023 Royce for
Royce?
those like 8 games where he was really good.
He was really good. He had like 5 grand slams in those 8 games, and that's not even that much of an exaggeration.
He's going to be better than he was last year, but that's as far as I'll go.
That is not saying much.
I know.
That's a very low bar to clear. I mean, he was a dark horse MVP candidate for 2024. Remember?
Yeah.
That was remember those
Oh
days?
yeah,
That was a
in
fun time.
like other people's like national writers articles.
Yeah,
like
not
it wasn't
like
just
David
us.
saying Jose Miranda is going to be one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball, and now
Why are we not talking about that? Why are we talking
packing
about my
groceries at
Royce
Walmart?
love?
Or,
We're
like,
not
what's he
talking
doing
about
again? I forget
David's I can't carry water guy right there. Jose Miranda.
It's sort of funny, the turn of phrase of carrying water, Dan, and then Jose Miranda can't carry water. It's sort of I don't fully understand how that's either a metaphor or a simile, but it is interesting somehow.
All right, well, let's go on here. Let's grade the season, gentlemen. This shouldn't take too long.
Series grades.
I don't think we need to cover Hoges and I. Dan, did you change your grade just now?
Well, I'm going back and
Hoges
forth.
Hoges and I both gave them an F because that's the grade they deserve. Dan had a D and then sneakily
I was ready to
change it.
just start throwing things at the computer.
So I think actually the only reason that I gave myself the D for a little bit is because of the year that Buxton had. But when you when you zoom out and you look at the whole galaxy of the season, like it doesn't look very good. That's an F compared to where even my expectations of them being an 80-win team were undershot by 10. And I didn't think they were going to be a playoff team, and they were not a playoff team. So I'm going to go back to the F, more because of the disarray that they're in now compared to where they were 2 years ago. We were looking for hope, right? And you see this everywhere on the internet, right? That, after 23, the trajectory was up. Now look at the trajectory and where it is.
Yeah, it's rough. It's bleak looking forward. But I mean, hey, boys, Fangraphs has them at 82 and 80 next year. So here we go.
And that's without a bullpen, right? I mean, that's just like assuming they're going to do like a pair of piggybacks every game with, somebody closing the games right there.
Oh, man.
Who knows? Let's go in here to Season's Herbie's headlines.
I don't know, Jack. It looked like Herbeck pulled him off the bag.
Herbie's headlines.
I don't really want to talk about any of the things that you've entered, Dan, but I think
they're
you've
the
done
headlines.
a good job. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying I don't really want to talk about any of them, but why don't you go ahead and enlighten folks on what you consider to be the MLB headlines, which I think you did a fine job. I just hate every part of it.
Yeah, so I think 3 of them, I think this is the 3. I think it's Ohtani's season and the Dodgers repeat. I think that the way that he was able to play for that team and the way that that team came together, as we said in the playoffs, with their 4 or 5 Hall of Famers on the roster, is definitely a story of this baseball season. I think the Judge-Raleigh back and forth competition, I think the discussion was good for baseball too. I think anytime that your sport is coast to coast conversation, right, between Seattle and New York. David, that was a geography lesson there. I hope you understood kind of where I was talking.
I got to be honest, Dan, I lost you there for a minute.
Duluth, that's in North Dakota.
And then the other one would be the cheaters in Cleveland, which maybe this is as good of a time as any to give Hoges a chance to talk about what he thought of the 2 relief pitchers in Cleveland who were basically literally throwing pitches so that they could earn kickbacks of tens of thousands of dollars. We talked a lot about that the last episode of Listeners Want to Go Back to it. But we didn't have Hoges with us. And I think when it came to the conversation about where that ranked in terms of the worst sins of cheating, I think, Hoges, you had a bit of a different view than David and I did. We both thought that's pretty terrible and egregious.
Well, I think my main difference between the two of you is I agree that betting could be the worst scandal. Like if they're guys that are absolutely throwing games or something like that, I think it has the potential to be the absolute worst. However, this instance was throwing a first pitch ball 15 times or something like that. Steroids had a way bigger impact on the game of baseball. It impacted every single player, every single game, nonstop for multiple years. This was just a few pitches in a few games. I'm not saying that it's right or anything like that, but I think steroids, the Black Sox scandal, Pete Rose, all of that was so much more systematic, where this was just 2 guys throwing balls every once in a while. I get that does impact in that bat, and it can impact a game, but it's not the entire league the whole year. And my little rosy picture on all of this is, and I'm not saying that this is right or that your guys' take is wrong, but I think that these things are going to get caught way more now than they ever were before, because this is legal and these sites track all of that. The only reason they found Clase and Ortiz is because they saw the increase in bets and they flagged that, and that's how they caught them. That would have never happened a few years ago when none of this was legal and it was all happening under the table. The devil's advocate on the other side is they weren't making these prop bets that often, but it's still like that's why they're finding it in the NBA, that they're tracking all of this. I think that there is a chance for this to not be as horrible as we think it is with them being able to catch it. I like that they're doing the prop betting, like decreasing the amount that you can put on those bets. You just don't need them when they're that easy to manipulate. My biggest worry, to be honest, with this whole betting thing in the United States of America in general is more college related, because those guys with that much money riding on those games that they can get, they don't make that much money at all. To me, it's still weird with Ortiz and Clase, where David, I think you pointed this out, they're making a lot of money, and some of this stuff was quote unquote only $20,000 or something like that. With the amount of money that they gave up, it's crazy to me, but baseball has to ban them for life. Hopefully that's enough of a deterrent, but I don't think the actual result of how much this happened is worse than any of those other scandals. I think it has the potential, but it didn't in this case.
Yeah, I think the reason why I put it so high is because I could see where it goes, and I would love for it to be a large enough deterrent that these guys might face jail time on top of being banned from the league. But I'll say, Hoges, murder is illegal, and people are still killing people. like I just think that that people aren't always smart about things. People aren't always bright when it comes to monetary responsibility. And I think if you dangle enough dollars in front of people, even those who are worth a lot of money, Hoges, they're still going to be willing to pull that trigger when, they don't fully understand the consequences that could come down upon them.
For sure. But it is encouraging that we're hearing about this and they're getting banned. Like that stuff is happening. They're going to court. There might be jail time involved. Like this did get caught.
Well, do you think, just out of curiosity, Hoges, what percent of the league do you think is currently on steroids?
Now, I mean, maybe it's just drinking the Kool-Aid, but I think an incredibly low amount after like the Balco and then even like the Ryan Braun stuff that happened with those. I mean, those suspensions being huge. I do think like that kind of like hormonal cheating with that stuff, the medicine is always going to be above the test. So there's always going to be a new thing that they're trying to do that can't be detected that we maybe don't know about yet. But I don't think it's that prevalent anymore.
I just don't know. But I
don't know either.
I think that steroids, as much as they impact the league, it's still like they're still playing baseball.
But it doesn't. But look at David, like Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, that entire era, they all were on steroids.
Well, really? So Barry Bonds put on like 1,000 pounds of muscle. Like, yes, Barry Bonds was clearly on steroids. So.
Which he's still, that's an argument for another time. He still is probably the best baseball player ever because he was phenomenal before the roids, which infuriates me to no end because we would have been talking him as the best baseball player ever with or without him.
Yeah, I guess I'm just saying that like it definitely impacted what happened on the field, but it didn't impact the mentality on the field. Like they were still trying to win no matter what. And betting has the capability to make it not be that way for players.
Yeah, that's the part.
Nobody was taking steroids to lose games.
I don't think we talked actually about the Chicago White Sox throwing the World Series. That to me is tantamount, right? Is that it's this idea that what we see is not what we actually are. Like that's not the reality. And that's the part that bugs me about the throwing the pitches is that it makes it seem like that was a strategic choice from a baseball standpoint, but it was actually a financial standpoint. It's pretending. Yes. And I'm not saying the steroids was not pretending either. They're all bad, right? They're all bad and they hurt the game. I hope that this doesn't escalate. This doesn't snowball. We don't see it more. We're seeing it, the NBA. We're going to see it in the NFL more than we already probably are. But I do take your point, Hoges, that if there are mechanisms to catch it, that maybe that will be enough of a dissuasion. But the medicine above the cure, whatever the line was that you said there, that was pretty good. That I think holds. There's always going to be somebody who's ahead and is cheating anyway. And that's just part of sports.
I think that's why I think the Black Sox to me is the worst because that's taking betting to the absolute max there where you're throwing World Series games to purposefully lose for the Mafia or whatever that was. Yeah. So that to me is how I would agree with you where like betting for sure can get up to that where it is cheating. They're all cheating, but it's playing the game a different way. I understand that point.
Okay, well let's move on to something a little bit more fun. So this is the first time we're doing this, but I take a lot of pride in the episode titles that we put on each of our shows. And so I thought it would be fun if we sort of went through and gave our favorite titles. So, Dan, I don't know if you want to go first or if I want to go first here.
So I'm looking now. We've unblacked out our lists here,
yes.
And so we do have a couple in common. So I think I want to save the ones that are in common maybe for the end here. So I'm going to go with mine. Baseball at 11sies. Anytime I can get a Lord of the Rings reference into a title, I feel really good about that one. And the whole point of architecture, which I think was I forget if I was with Hoges on that one.
No, that was with me. It was with the Astros and like the ball jumping out and like
that was a good one
because it comes at one of my favorite things is the stupidity of some of these designs of these stadiums. Baltimore with the corner and the L.
I knew you were going to mention Baltimore.
Oh my gosh. I think one of my favorite episodes of the year was the Living in the Sadness one that Hoges and I did talking about the trade deadline. And so I picked that one just because it was such a moment. And then the last one I want to talk about is Just Get Me in the X-Wing. And the reason that I like this one is I had a whole other metaphor like pre-planned and I ended up coming up with that one kind of as we talked. And the reason that I brought that up is I feel like sometimes the things that we say that I find listening back, and this is all self-indulgent, but the things that we say that we just kind of come up with in the moment are way funnier and more interesting than the things that we pre-plan. And so I really liked getting in a Star Wars reference there too.
Yeah, so I had 4 that we didn't cross over on. So Can't Blame the Children, which was talking about Bailey Ober struggling on the road because he didn't have the children to wake him up early. The next one here I have is You Won't Find Magic in the Baseball, which is Dan talking about, like, I forget how we talked about magic, but it was not a good stretch for the Twins. The next one was a Hoges quote, actually, hesitantly drinking the Kool-Aid, which I always
just a light sip.
And then actually our very, I think our season recap, or our season preview show actually is one of my favorite, which is the purest pure hitter on the roster. And that's from, if you listen back, Dan says pure hitter like 12 times. And then at one point he says the purest pure hitter on the roster, but not intentionally. Like he just lost track of how many pures he'd put in the word already, which is pretty good.
But I think the 2 that we have highlighted, I think maybe are my favorites on the season too. So,
no question.
Who were you? So this first one, not everybody has a prime. I forget
that
who
was
you were
good.
talking
that
about.
Was late in the year. I can't remember who it was, but it was recent.
I think it was what's his name, the turtle, wasn't it? Was it Astudillo or was
Astudillo?
it Tortuga? Maybe I forget. Who was the other guy? Williams, Astudillo, and then who was the other guy? Who were we talking about?
I forget who the other one we were talking about. Yeah.
And then the other one that we both have was Dan.
This one's my favorite.
Dan trying to recall a quote from Miracle and talking about how the team needs to be fired up, and Dan goes, when he says, the heart is a long way from the thigh,
Yep, that was my favorite.
It wasn't even a good Herb Brooks voice. It was like a Russian
no, it was so
Herb
bad.
or something.
No, he's like, you forgot what
I can't even think of what it actually is right now. That's what's bugging me. This whole time I've been trying to think of what the actual quote is, but I'm too busy giggling about the heart is a long way from the thigh. It's ruined me. I got to watch Miracle tonight now.
Well, folks, thanks for hanging with us here on the season wrap. We have more things to talk about. We want to look ahead a little bit to next year, and so we have another episode that'll drop in a couple days here. But I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and send us out. If you do like what you hear, please tell a friend. You can follow us on X at Min for the Win. Find our Min for the Win Facebook and Instagram pages. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on your favorite platforms so you're notified when new episodes are available. And if you could leave us a rating or a like, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to support the show further, you can find us on Patreon. The link is in the description. Thank you for listening, and as always, go Twins. That'll wrap up another episode of Min for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, two avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Twins. Thanks so much for listening, and as always, go Twins.